listeners. Welcome to episode 39. We're almost hitting 40. And thank you again for tuning in. This is going to be our first AC/DC misheard song lyric this week. And the song we are going to talk about is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. But the misheard song lyric is Dirty Deeds Done with Sheep. Dirty Deeds Done with Sheep. Which we all know the correct lyrics again is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. All right, so it is written and performed by a hard rock band, actually from Australia. I, for many years, thought they were British, and have several changes, and you'll see why in a second because of a death. But the original band started with Bon Scott for lead vocals, Angus Young, iconic guitarist with his schoolboy outfit, Malcolm Young, and again Angus also does backing vocals. Malcolm Young, rhythm, guitar, backing vocals. Mark Evans, bass guitar, and then drums, Phil Rudd. So before we go into the song as well as the kind of what created the song, let's talk about the lead singer, the early lead singer, and that is Bon Scott. So his full name is Ronald Belford Scott, but he went by Bon. He was born on July 9th, 1946, and he died tragically on February 19th, 1980. He also, of course, was an Australian singer, songwriter, instrumentalist, and known for being the lead vocalist and lyricist of AC/DC from 1974 until his death in 1980. He was born actually in a town called Forfar, Scotland, and spent his early years in Kirriemuir. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's what Wikipedia is saying. And then he moved to Australia later on with his family in 1952. And then at the age of 6, he lived in Melbourne for 4 years before settling into a place in Western Australia called Fremantle. Then Bon Scott formed his first band. They were called the Spectres, so it's spelled Spektors, back in 1964, and then became the band's drummer and occasional lead vocalist, which is interesting because we only known him as lead vocals. He performed in several other bands, including a band called the Valentines and Fraternity, before replacing a Dave Evans, which is funny because there's a Dave Evans company here in the town I live, and I actually worked with another individual named Dave Evans. So it's a very, very common name, I guess, as the lead singer of AC/DC in 1974. AC/DC, of course, grew popularity through the 70s. I mean, even till now. I mean, youngins know who they are. Initially in Australia, then internationally. Their 1979 album, Highway to Hell, reached the top 20 United States, and the band was on the verge of commercial success, and this is when Bon Scott tragically died. And I guess AC/DC had first initially thought, we needed this band. We can't go on without them. But they ended moving on. I think they decided as a band that this is what Bon would have wanted. And they recruited vocalist Brian Johnson, who I'm more familiar with. He came from the British glam rock band Gordy. And he has that voice, too, that's really good. But it always sounds so, like it'd be painful if I did his voice. Like, I wonder, I always say, are his vocal cords bleeding? Because it's amazing sound, but it just sounds like it hurts to sing. So back to Bon Scott's, last night or last days on Earth. So they say sometime during the late evening of February 18th and early morning of February 19th, that's when he passed away at the young age of 33. And during that day, he had just visited a London club, which at the time was called the Music Machine back in the day. It's now changed hands, of course, and changed name. He was left to sleep in a Renault 5 owned by a friend of Scott named Alistair Kinnear at a specific location at 67 Overhill Road in East Dulwich. And then later that day, Kinnear supposedly found Scott's lifeless body and alerted the authorities. And when they took Scott to King's College Hospital in Camberwell, that's when he was pronounced dead on arrival. Nothing else to say, right? Well, apparently there is a dispute about his death. It was challenged by a 2017 book by an author by the name of Jesse Fink called Bon, The Last Highway, which contends that he actually died of a pulmonary aspiration of vomit. That was the cause of his death via suspected heroin overdose. But the official cause on his death certificate was acute alcohol poisoning. And it's interesting. They classified his death as by misadventure. So, lots of theories, and, specifically by this Jesse Fink who wrote that book, and then he added, I think, new information to the same book in 2018. Uh, so what happened was, posthumely they said, we're going to move on. They found and recruited Brian Johnson as a new vocalist, and they had the subsequent album called Back in Black, and it was released only 5 months later, and they said they attributed it to Bon Scott's death, which, of course, it became the third best-selling album in history. And back in July 2004 issue of Classic Rock, apparently Scott himself was rated as number one in a list of 100 greatest frontmen of all time. I'm assuming it was probably between him and Freddie Mercury, of the like. And then a publication called Hit Parader ranked Scott as fifth on their 2006 list of the 100 greatest heavy metal vocalists of all time. Amazing voice. So let's go back to the song or itself, Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap, or Done with Sheep. It was written by group members Angus Young, Malcolm Young, and Bon Scott himself, and it was recorded for the title track of their album, also called Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and it was released back in September of 1976. Yours truly was a mere 4 years old, but I was alive. And it was, a very influential song. It was very popular, and the phrase, actually, the influence of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap was actually an homage to a cartoon over there called Beanie and Cecil, which we don't have here in the United States. Apparently, Angus Young watched it as a child and thought, okay, one of the characters, cartoon characters, was named Dishonest John. Gotta love that for cartoons, right? Who carried a business card that read Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Holidays, Sundays, and special rates. That's hilarious. So Angus had that in his brain, and when he came up with the song title, Malcolm Young told Mark Blake it was based, quote unquote, it was based on a cartoon character that had an advertisement or advert for mosquito spray that was running on Aussie TV at the time. Yes, we were always a very topical band. So, anything, they always say, write with what you know, right? And at that time, it brought him back to his childhood, and I'm glad they did, because it has not only brought them fame and fortune, but that song still lives on. I still hear it in many karaoke bars, and I've heard it done really good and not as good, but God bless them for trying. And I once in a while will see it on an advertisement, so someone's making money out of it. I'm assuming those individuals at ACDC and the estate, hopefully, of Bon Scott is also still making money. And one of the interesting things is there is controversy like anything else. So not only was there controversy of what actually killed Bon Scott, but it was the song itself. So growing up in the 80s, the big song, one of the big songs was Tommy Two Tone's Jenny 8675309. And I thought that was the only song that of the 80s that maybe caused a lot of people heartache who had that number with people calling, hey, is Jenny there? Well, apparently this song is also one of those types of songs. So back in 1981, a couple by the name of Norman and Marilyn White of Libertyville, Illinois, here in the States, filed a $250,000 lawsuit in Lake County, Illinois Circuit Court against the record company, which was Atlantic Records at the time, because they were the distributors of this album, and alleged that their telephone number was included in the song, resulting in hundreds of prank phone calls. I'm like, I don't remember any telephone number in that song, but this is what their attorney said. The attorney told the Chicago Tribune that the songs 36, 24, 36, which is actually, he's describing a woman's figure, were followed with a hey, so it sounded like an 8. So when you do 3624368, that was their number, which caused all these people to call. And I can only imagine what kind of calls they were getting. So they said the couple claimed they received hundreds of quote-unquote lewd, suggestive, and threatening phone calls, presumably asking for various dirty deeds at low prices, or something with sheep. Probably got that too. And I found a website, because I want to know, so did they win that lawsuit? So a website called songfacts.com stated, quote-unquote, that the Whites asked for $250,000 in damages and demanded that the band re-record the song, but a judge ruled against them, First Amendment, it says, so they didn't win. So I would have probably just changed my number. But didn't know anything about this, probably new to you, or if you knew about it, good for you. But just love the song. I try it once in a blue moon, and it's fun. Like I said, the vocals are hard. They are not easy, but they are fun, and people know it. So thank you for listening. I'm excited to see what episode 40 holds next week. But please stay safe. It's Memorial Day here in States, and have a wonderful Memorial Day. And we will talk to you later. So bye.